No hope? Are there issues and problems in your life that you want to break away from and feel like you can't? Do you wonder, how can I be free from these issues that have destroyed my life? Well, my friend, I have the answer. Bible Way Hibner Memorial Church of God in Christ presents Chain Breakers, this and every Sunday at 9 a.m. here on WHYL.
From the L.B. Smith Ford Lincoln Studios, Oldies 102.9 is WHYL Carlisle.
Welcome to the Real Estate Radio Guys, your weekly source for all things real estate. We're your hosts, real estate broker John Rainville and your mortgage expert Kingsley Harmer discuss everything from mortgage rates to home staging for foreclosures and everything in between that affect the daily real estate market. Real people, real questions, real answers. Today's show is brought to you by www.pagoloan.com, your source for new mortgage loans. NMLS number 1018. EnviroQuest, trusted for home inspections and radon mitigation in Central PA for over 25 years. And brokersrealty.com, the easiest way to search for real estate in your hometown. Now, on to the show.
Good morning. It's a beautiful day in Pennsylvania this morning. Welcome to the Real Estate Radio Guys here on WHYL 102.9 FM and 960 AM in beautiful Carlisle, Pennsylvania. I'm John Rainville, one of the hosts of the show. I'm a 30-year real estate veteran and a broker in Pennsylvania, New York, and Maryland. And my co-host this morning, as usual, is...
the same guy every week, Kingsley Harmer. GSF Mortgage, pagoloan.com, in mortgages for 20-plus years. Dabbled in real estate in every aspect that you can think of, which makes today's topic very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, our show today is going to be about, should you become a realtor? I mean, I get this question asked to me all the time by people that I run into, and they're saying, hey, looks like such a fun job. I think I want to get into it.
I don't think that's what people are saying.
Yeah, well, a lot of them think, hey, it just involves, go out, open up doors, and collect checks,
Well, that is what it is.
Yeah.
But I think more people look at it and be like, what? You spent 10 minutes and made 50 grand? No, not quite. But it is very, it can be lucrative if you work hard.
It can be a very lucrative opportunity.
Yeah. And that's what we're going to talk about.
Absolutely. What it takes to get in the business, what's involved, I'll tell you the good, the bad, the ugly on it, and, some common broker lies that they tell to their prospective people. Kingsley, 87% of all people that get into the real estate business are out within 5 years.
Well, I believe that because I think their expectations are off.
Right, correct. You have to go with the right expectations.
And that's what we're here to set straight. And also, when they talk about stats, they bring all these stats up. How many of those realtors are full-time and how many of them are part-time?
Very good question. It's about a 53-47% breakdown. 53% of realtors are full-time, 47% are officially part-time.
And
nationwide.
what constitutes part-time?
47% of the realtors.
No, I mean, what's considered part-time?
Well, I consider a part-time realtor someone that has a full-time real job.
Okay.
Or
maybe the retired individual that's just looking for something extra to do with their friends.
Yeah, I do. I mean, we do see that I actually have some full-time, part-time realtors that do work a full-time job but perform like they were a full-time realtor. They're just amazing.
And what is an average realtor?
What do you mean?
What does an average realtor do? I mean, we're looking at the whole spectrum.
Well, we're going to get into that. I just want to bring up Okay, so
these are all questions.
I know. Inquiring minds want to know.
Yes.
So John Stas from EnviroQuest is going to be on later in the show, and John's topic today is mold. And as we come into the spring, it's becoming, it's going to become more prevalent in some of the properties as the temperatures increase. So we're going to be speaking with him later.
Mold's exciting.
Yeah, mold is. We may well learn something today. Okay, so on to the show and the topic of about becoming a realtor. Is it, should you make that career change? Should you look to do it? A lot of people, Kingsley, back on the part-time, get into the business part-time so that they can build their business slowly, have some time, have some income. Years ago, it was a big business for many housewives. I hate to say that like that, but a lot of housewives did it. Their husbands were bringing in major breadwinner and became a good sideline. But that day has sort of changed. That ship has sailed on a lot of it because it's become such a highly technical industry anymore, with everything they need to know.
Oh, my God. It's like anything else. You got to keep up with it.
You do.
Otherwise, you're just kind of left in the dust.
So what's involved in getting a real estate license? And we're just going to talk in general because Pennsylvania is one of the states that, we are reciprocal with other states. So our laws are fairly similar to New York, New Jersey, most of the stuff up and down the eastern seaboard, Ohio. But what it takes here in Pennsylvania in order to initially get into the business, you actually have to take 2 30-hour courses on real estate to be able to sit for the exam. Then you take a state exam. And then after that, you have to go and have a broker. Some people say sponsor you. Really, you have to go to work for a broker. When you work as a real estate agent, you're actually a sub-agent always for the broker. That means you're any listing or sale is actually the broker's.
Which you're pretty much doing anyway,
Correct.
Regardless of how long you've been in it, unless you become an associate broker.
Correct. Well, it's still the broker's, but yes. So it takes those classes. Then most people will have to join a multiple listing service. That's how we get all of our information, our data on the homes and the properties.
Do we have one right now?
Yeah, we have a Bright one.
Okay.
Yeah, we do.
Just checking to see if it was still there.
Yeah, it's still there. Bright is still there. As of this morning, the sun came up, didn't it, buddy?
Yes, it did.
Not saying we don't have some challenges, but you have to take those 2 classes. You have to pass the state exam. You have to then, at that point in time, pass a background check from the Pennsylvania State Police, and then wait. What?
Background check.
Yeah, background.
I mean, I can't just be a realtor because
Well, there's certain things that they will not let you obtain a license. If you've done money. Issues like if you've stolen money, bank fraud, bad checks, that could have an impact on you being able to pull your real estate license.
So money laundering or something to that effect might keep you away from...
Well, it depends on what it is and, whether the real estate commission is going to approve you. I have personally seen someone that was charged and convicted of kidnapping in another state
Seriously?
Be able to get a real estate license. So
it's good to know we've got high standards.
It just depends. So on the education, you've got to take those 2 classes, and you can actually get them online or you can get them in person. You're going to need to have some money lined up, for as you get into the business. So what are some of the things going to cost you? And you're going to have to join a board of realtors. Around here, I'm going to give a sweeping generalization. Till you do your initiation fee and join a realtor's board, it's going to run you about $500 for your first year. And that pays your National Association of Realtor dues, your State Association of Realtor dues, also pays your local Association of Realtor dues, which is probably the smallest portion of those fees. You're looking like you got a question on that?
No, I'm just adding all this stuff up in my brain as you're going through it. So we're like $500, $600 already.
Yep, $500.
Okay.
Well, you're going to have to take the classes. Now, the classes I've seen for as low as $100 for both.
For both 30-hour courses?
Yep.
Okay.
To probably about $750 for both
right.
if you go take live classes.
Okay.
And then you're going to have to sit for the exam. That's going to be another $75.
Okay.
You're going to have the background check. That's another $10.
So we're up to like $700.
Yep. You're going to have to, and then after that, you're going to have to join the multi-list. You're going to have to get that key. The key on your phone here locally runs about $200 a year.
Okay. So now we're up to $800, $900, and what about the license? You got to pay for the license.
You got to pay for the license. Your license is going to run you right now about $150 for your initial license.
All right, so about $10.50. Nice little investment. So this isn't just go on the internet and sign up kind of deal.
Correct. It's just like any business, though. It's whether we were selling hot dogs out of a hot dog cart, you're going to have some startup costs. And that's one of the things I think most people that get into the real estate business don't understand, that they're actually building a business, and it is a business that you're going to have to put money out. You're going to have a marketing budget. You're going to have to run it like a business. My wife Betty likes to say to us a lot of times, it's sort of like as the brokerage or the broker, we're like the mall, and when you operate as a realtor or a real estate agent underneath us, it's sort of like you have a kiosk in the mall.
Okay.
And I think that's a great analogy because, if you don't open up your kiosk every day, or, if you don't open it until 3:30 in the afternoon, it may impact how much sales you're able to do out of your kiosk.
So when we come back down to the decision of whether or not we want to get into this business, it's not as simple as here's a check for $50 and hit the ground running and go make money. What you're basically telling me is that you need to make a conscious decision and invest time to make this business successful.
Right. You're going to take the classes, the state classes, in order to obtain your license on real estate practice, and that are really not going to tell you how to do the business on a day-to-day basis. They're going to do things so that you understand real estate law, fiduciary responsibilities, how to do the math, what's required by the state on a listing or a sale, and it's going to give you some of the nuances, really, of the state law.
So basically everything to keep your butt out of jail.
Really, that's what your broker should be doing. Your brokerage should be training you also to help you keep everything high and tight so that you can stay out of harm's way.
Okay.
Okay, so like, my Sherpa analogy. Okay, yeah, I know you love that. The broker should be the Sherpa for the agents, should be the guide trying to keep them out of the potholes, from falling off the edge of the cliff. However, if they don't listen to the Sherpa or decide to, not take the Sherpa's advice, if they freeze to death tonight, it's on them.
All right, so we've gone into some of the costs. I mean, just a few so far.
Correct.
Right? I mean, at this point, you've passed your test.
Correct.
You've taken the test.
Yep.
You've passed the test and been issued a license, right?
Correct.
Now, somewhere in between being issued a license or passing the test and issuing the license, you have to pick who you want to work for or who is going to best suit you and train you from the get-go to make sure you're doing things correctly.
Excellent point.
And I'm gonna kind of stick on topic here for costs because it's still about setting up a business. But part of that business, you have to decide who you're going to partner with or who you're going to have as your mentor.
Right, and so that is actually going to vary from firm to firm because some firms I've seen have charged a new agent coming in anywhere from $500 to $2,500 in order to get started. Okay,
and that includes what?
Well, sometimes they'll say, well, that's including some signs, some business cards, some technology, and some other things that they may do. An initial mailing to all of your friends and relatives that you're now yippee-skippy running on your own, making $1 million in real estate.
Desk fees,
yeah.
Insurance?
Insurance, errors and omissions insurance. Yep.
Which is what?
Errors and omissions insurance protects the real estate agent in case they do that, make an error or an omission in the transaction. A good policy also covers you in case of fair housing violations or environmental issues. For potentially, let's say you sold a home and it had an underground oil tank You didn't know it. The seller didn't disclose it, but we know everyone's going to get sued. And you get sued because there was the underground oil tank and maybe there's a problem. That's something that errors and omission might cover. Or there's a mistake on a contract. It ends up costing a buyer or seller money. That could be something also that they would come against you with. On your errors and omissions. Sometimes people get professional charges against them by the state for maybe violating a law, maybe violating an advertising rule, for example.
Which is why you need to make sure you pay attention on your tests.
Correct. And make sure you run your advertising, your social media, everything through your broker so that they know what's going on and can keep you out of harm's way.
All right, so let's go back to, when I sign up with a broker, I know there's a bunch of them out there, right? And we're trying to determine on where to work. And I've already invested, $1,000, $1,100 into the business before I even started. And now I'm getting ready to create this partnership or find the mentor that I'm going to work with.
No, I think you said it right, partnership, because really it is a partnership. It should be a partnership.
It should be a partnership.
But in some cases it's not.
But in a lot of cases, you're being, okay, fine, you're a number. Right. You're paying a desk fee. And that's why I said, this is an important part of the decision process. You should at least interview 2 or 3 different brokers or companies.
Absolutely.
To find out what it is you're getting into. Because if you're getting into, maybe a bigger company that doesn't have the same one-on-one time to donate or give to you, yep, you're going to be thrown into a pool of piranhas and have no clue what to do.
Correct. And so I think you have to know yourself a little bit at that point in time. You need to know whether you operate best, if you prefer to be a big fish in a little pond or a little fish in a big pond.
And a lot of that's going to determine what kind of cost you have, too. So
correct.
You've got the big box, and you've got what do we call now, the boutique?
I'm going to say boutique or indies.
Okay. So, the boutique's going to give you a little bit more one-on-one, give you a little bit of training, and kind of, ease you into the pool, so to speak.
Correct.
Whereas a big box, Dad's going to come up, pick you up, and throw you in, and you're going to sink or swim.
Correct. So you definitely, in my opinion, I'm doing this 30 years. My top recommendation is you want to go with someone where either the broker or someone, the manager, is willing to coach you. And you also want to have a mentor. A mentor may help you with your initial paperwork, getting acclimated or onboarded with computer systems, with writing agreements, with learning how to show a house, with learning what you need to do in order when you list a house to market it.
So perhaps somebody that's willing to let you shadow them, in your first,
absolutely,
first month or two.
Yep.
And obviously an ideal situation would be to, first of all, pick the firm. And that's going to be depending on, what the setup is. Again, some of them, it used to be like $400 a month for desk fees.
Some of them do have, yes, desk fees, and you have to ask what all the fees are, because some will charge you a desk fee, some charge a technology fee, some charge every time they cut a check, whether it's an escrow check or a check to pay you. How you're going to get paid, that's another thing. Are you going to get paid? Some brokerages only pay twice a month. They pay on the 1st and the 15th. So if you have a settlement on the 16th, you're not going to get paid till the 1st.
So first of all, and again, this is important because as a new agent coming into this business, you've already laid out $1,000, $1,100, $1,200. You've now gotten to the process of picking a broker and partner, if you will, and you're walking into looking at all these fees, and this is why it's very important to lay 2 or 3 different options out. Because you can be starting off with a $400 or $500 a month nut that you have to carry even before you even shown your first house.
Well, correct. And there are also what we call 100% shops out there. And a 100% shop, you may be paying $1,200 a month. You are going to get most of your commission. excuse me, you may get, for example, with the big balloon, if you went and joined them today, you're going to get 95% of what you bring in, I believe, because they're going to have some fees. So it's not real. You also have to make sure that what the brokerage is touting as a 70% split or an 80% split or 100% split truly is. So you really want to ask in that interview. So, Mr. or Mrs. Broker or manager, if I bring in a commission of $3,000, am I going to get, if I'm in a 70% split, am I going to get $2,100 or am I going to get $2,100 less other fees? And a lot of them, when you start to look into it, what appeared to be a 70%, a 70-30 split, and that's how agents are paid. Most of them are paid on a split basis unless they're 100%. So the 30% actually goes to the house, the brokerage. That money is covering things like back-end technology, websites, advertising, office space, general liability insurance, signs, lock boxes, additional marketing, staff. And that's, where the brokerage is getting their money. And anymore, that's a very slim dime. I mean, I'm sure we could have a show with brokers on from across the globe, and they would tell you that the money on the brokerage side is definitely slim.
Now, as you go down in this sliding scale, the amount of, what is a typical newbie? What should a newbie expect?
I think realistically, a newbie should expect to get in with about a 50-50 split for their first maybe 3 to 6 months while they're learning. And then they should be looking to, start to get up the scale as they become more competent. Because as they become more proficient in the business, they're more proficient. They're sucking up less resources from either
more
their
hands
mentor.
off. They're their own business.
Correct.
They're
really starting to establish themselves.
So basically, the first rule, if I'm a newbie, from what I see, is I should stay away from these 100%, 95% shops because I'm either A, going to start off with a huge expense that I have to carry monthly, right?
Right.
Until I have a pipeline, and this is assuming, this is a business and we're doing this full time, and we now have a lot of closings that are occurring regularly to be able to handle these expenses. Or B, these bigger shops are just not going to, it's just not built into the matrix to be able to give you that much time.
That's a great point. It's not even just the time, because this is 80%, my opinion, my humble opinion, 80% of a realtor's time needs to be devoted to prospecting and staying in touch with past clients and customers to maintain that pipeline, as you say. Some of the shops, if they're a 100% shop or what I'm going to call a discount broker, and there's a lot of them that pop up, around the country now, that offer really high splits but no services. Okay, the broker may actually be in Texas or Delaware. They're not there. You're never going to see them in person. They're not going to be there if you need any mentoring or coaching. And
so you mean I don't have their cell phone number that I can call on a Friday night at 9 o'clock?
No, some of them actually only give you a chat option that you can chat or instant message with them. So you don't actually know who you're chatting or instant messaging with.
So just like anything else, as you're starting off in a new industry, you really do have to learn the ropes.
Well, the learning starts after you get your license.
Right.
And there is a learning curve. Because it isn't just as, you just don't pick up your license. So back on those differences in the companies, like we were talking 100%, 95% split fee broker, it's not so much, folks, about what the split is. Because 100% or 95% of nothing is still nothing at the end of the day.
Good point.
Is the brokerage or the firm are they providing you any business? Are they calling you and saying, hey, I've got a referral for a listing in Lebanon. Do you want it? So that they may actually be driving tens and tens of thousands of dollars of business your way which if they're bringing you business, $10,000, $20,000 worth of business in a year, how much? If you went to a 100% shop, you're still going to have the fees, you're still going to have the costs and expenses like the brokerage does. And so you have to ascertain whether or not, once you personally take on that liability for day-to-day expenses, are you better off, or are you better off giving a higher split, not making quite as much on each deal, but getting more income because the firm is giving you buyers and sellers on a regular basis and helping you build your business.
Okay. So it sounds to me that if I'm starting off, I really should go somewhere that I'm going to get support from. I mean, plain and simple. I need somebody that's going to be there to answer my questions, because as a newbie, I'm sure I've got, dozens of questions on any given basis. And as the first time I roll through with a buyer or a seller or a listing appointment, I'm going to have questions, because obviously I haven't been in the industry for 30 years.
Right.
So I need somebody I can tap into. And just from everything that we're talking about, it seems that these 100% or high split shops, I mean, they do have a place in the industry, because
absolutely,
at the end of the day, if I start off and I do everything I'm supposed to, everything I'm taught, and I become self-sufficient to the point where I'm doing my own marketing, I'm getting my own clients, and I don't need that support, that's when I'm transitioning up the ladder, so to speak.
Well, yes and no, because while you may transition up the ladder, my advice would be to go to your broker and try to see if you can renegotiate some type of deal with them. But what if that broker's providing you $30,000 or $40,000 worth of business a year? That may more than offset what you think you're going to make by going on your own.
And that's obviously something, once you're in the industry long enough, that's a decision you have to make.
Right. Absolutely.
Because you just have to do the math. Because if I'm working for a brokerage and, they gave me, let's say, just one deal a month, right? That one deal a month is free money that I don't have to do anything with.
Correct.
To
That's
make
a huge amount, because you won't get that in the 100% firm.
Right. So you just have to work or spend that additional money on whatever marketing you're doing to get that one deal.
And, truly, a lot of the 100% companies anymore are actually split fees. They also do 70-30 splits and things like that. So, I mean, most of the 100% companies have become hybrids. But, why do people, choose to get into real estate? A lot of them, think they're going to get in there because of the flexibility. And there is flexibility about when you work to an extent. You can work half days. I mean, a lot of realtors only work half days. They work from 8 in the morning till 8 at night.
Yeah,
right? Isn't that how loan officers work?
Part-time.
Yeah, part-time, half a day.
Yep.
You've got unlimited. You do have unlimited income potential. You can make a lot of money. You can make six figures.
Let's just use that right now, because we've already talked about what kind of money's involved with getting started, right? So we've already got at least $1,000, $1,200 before you even walk out the door, okay? And if we're in a shop that pays you 100%, you obviously at this point, let's just decide you go that route. How much does it cost to advertise? I mean, you spend, I know, tens of thousands of dollars on marketing and advertising, right?
Correct.
So for an individual agent that says, look, I've got this, I want to do it on my own, how much am I going to spend to be successful and having enough clients to say I'm going to be successful?
Well,
and I know that's a loaded question, but
it is.
Nowadays you've got so many different avenues that you have to try and cover to make yourself successful. I mean, you've got everything that's from online,
social media,
and all of this costs money.
Oh yeah. So websites, internet data exchange, which lets somebody search listings on your personal website, contact managers, CRM programs, systems to follow up with your sellers, technology to help you do market analysis, desktop publishing, being able to do flyers, being able to post ads out on the internet. I mean, the list is endless. I would say that if you want to make $60,000 your first year, I would budget a minimum of 5% for your marketing. I'd prefer to see you put 10% in of your gross. So if I'm going to make 60 grand, I need to spend $500 a month.
At least.
Yeah, you do.
And this is assuming that you're not getting the support. You're on your own at this point. You're on a higher end split.
Well,
so
no. I think you should
you would do it anyway.
I think you should do it from the get go.
Okay.
That you're going to need to have some social media marketing, being done for you. You're going to be doing maybe some mailings. Now our firm's different. We use a lot of technology. So let's just say that you're going to use the dreaded robocaller. Right. That might cost you might spend $200 a month doing that, or doing the dialer, or using a service to pull you every morning for sale by owners and expired listings.
Well, I think that's coming up in the show
as
far as what's required. So now we're on the costs involved.
I think we hit the cost.
Well, we're at least at $500 to $1,000 a month that you're investing, depending on whether you go
yes. If you're going to build your business, because look, if you had that hot dog cart or whatever you had, you're going to have marketing expenses.
Right.
But a lot of people get in and then they expect everything just to come in the door, and it doesn't.
So all right. So now that we've gone over the expenses and we've gone over the fact that I love the idea I only have to work 8 to 8,
right?
Because it's flexible,
right?
So and it is a great thing. Basically, you're self-employed.
Correct.
You're only going to make as much as you're willing to work.
Correct.
So we've gone through all the negative as far as what it's going to take to get there and how much I got to spend just to be able to work. What is the income potential? I know you say 6 figures, but let's just take
what's realistic.
Let's just take our market. What's the top end?
Let's look at national. Well, I don't think there is a top end. I would say the top end is unlimited, but let's just talk about the national average.
All right.
In 2016, the national average for full-time realtors was a little over $42,000. I believe $42,300 was the average income.
And that is one deal every 2 to 3 months? 8 deals a year?
Approximately 8 deals a year.
Okay. That's the average.
Yeah. In our market here in central Pennsylvania, you're going to have to do more deals than that. If you're not looking to do 2 or 3 deals a month as a full-time realtor, you're going to have a hard time.
Well, and the average sales price is a whole lot less than,
correct,
say, California or New York, et cetera.
Well, I was down in Maryland the other month and, showing properties. And, down there, if you're selling all like $500,000 properties, you can get by selling 1 or 2 a month, 1 a month. If I sold 8 or 10 down there in a year, I could be happy.
Yeah, you could be, exactly. Because most of them are $400,000 and up.
Right. So if you're 10 of them, you just did $4 or $5 million in business.
You're good.
Right. So, why get into real estate? Like we said, we went over the flexibility. You've got unlimited earning potential. In your first year, do I think you should be able to make $40,000? I do. As long as you're willing to work, come in the office, or be on the phone every day with your broker or your mentor to make sure that you're kept on task.
And doing what you're doing. I mean, we'll go through, obviously, a list of what you can do to become successful.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we know what the average is, right, which is $40,000. And that's every year, right? I mean, that's just the average.
Yep.
Okay. And the first year, obviously, is going to really set the table for your habits and moving forward. So when you get into the industry, learn it right from the get-go.
Yeah, when I first got in the industry, had I not had perseverance, I would have gotten out. I made $8,000.
Which is why everybody is out within 5 years.
Yeah, and that was before expenses. Yeah, so
let's go back to, I know you say you can make 6 figures, and I know you say unlimited, but in our market, what's kind of on the higher end, 150 deals a year?
All right, well, let's just say, what do I think an agent's capable of doing? A single agent without a team, I think maxes out around 50 or 60 transactions a year. If you're efficient and you put systems in place, there's no reason you can't do that without a team. Okay.
So 50 deals a year.
Yep, I think that's where you cap out.
Individually. So that's
where you cap
5
out.
a month.
Let's say 1 a week.
Okay. That's a pretty good
That's
rolling.
a good clip.
Yep, that's a good clip. So
Yeah.
doing 1 a week, on average, it gives you about 4 to 4.5 a month.
Yep.
Right? And what is the average deal size in our area?
Well, so for our company, it's a little over 171,000 right now.
Okay.
So 3, 4, 5. You're
Okay.
talking. Say $3,000 to $5,000 commission.
170,000, and okay.
Yep,
and it's
absolutely.
3 points is the traditional.
Yep.
And obviously, you get into different options after that. But-
Right.
So 3 points on $170,000 is what, about $5,000? $5,200,
Mm-hmm.
right? And of course, depending on your split, so let's call it $2,500 to $3,000 you're making
Yep.
per deal, per week.
Right. You can make in the mid. I'd say 140, 150. But that's where you're going to about cap out because there's only so many hours in a day.
There's only so much you can do without
Right.
a team.
Correct. And that, and if you had the ability to make a lot of that be listing business, you may be able to handle a little bit more than that. But that's about where that's about where I feel you're going to cap out, without
And that makes
teaming
sense
up.
because you can only do so much. And like you said, part-time, working 8 to 8, you got to have a life too. Well, I guess you don't have to, but so 50 deals a year.
Right.
150 a year. I'd say that's a pretty good business to get into for somebody that's just willing to work their butts off.
Don't need a college degree.
Don't need a college degree. 60 hours worth of courses and a test.
Right.
And literally, I still think the biggest part of it is picking the right brokerage.
And I think if you're going to go into it full time, that you really want to commit 40 to 60 hours a week in your first year so that you can really get the business going. Okay, and you really work it hard, whether you're out networking, whether you're doing internet marketing, where I had one extremely successful realtor up in the Poconos, and her thing was every day, her goal was to at least talk to one person about real estate, about buying or selling. So if she didn't have an appointment to buy, to list a home or to show people, she would go out, go to coffee shops, keep going until she got one person that would sit down and talk with her about real estate.
That's 365 people a year.
Yep.
That you're,
It's all numbers.
and really, as simple as handing out a business card.
Correct.
So, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people, get in the business also then because they have a passion or interest in real estate or they want to get into flipping. That's a whole nother bailiwick. They sort of want to be their own boss. That's another reason. Another reason is because they like to work with people. A lot of people say that they get in the business because they want to help people. And I'm going to say BS. They get into it because they want to make money. They want to pay their bills.
Well,
Everyone wants to help people, don't get me wrong. But bottom line, at the end of the day, it depends on what goes in Hip National Bank.
well, exactly. But, there are different people, though. You've got the closet people that are introverts, and then you've got people that just are naturally good at talking to people. They'll just go up and start a conversation out of the blue. Hey, nice tie, John. Where'd you get that?
Right. But there's room for both in the business.
Absolutely.
Because I'm not an extrovert. I'm really basically an introvert. Now, that's not the case with Betty. Miss Bet.
He is not an introvert. I'm sorry.
I am. I'm an introverted extrovert. I'll show you the test.
Okay.
But Betty will go and we will be in line at the grocery store and she's hammering on people. As soon as she gets that in, she knows before we get through the checkout whether they own, whether they rent, whether they have any investment properties. She also usually knows about 90% of their health history. And I'm wanting to crawl under the register. Okay.
I just don't see that. I'm sorry.
What, you don't see me as introverted?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I am. Trust me.
So I think what we have here is, there's a lot of different real estate careers, obviously, other than realtor. But our favorite inspector has just knocked on the door.
Mr. Stas is here.
And, we want to take a break from this exciting career of real estate.
So we're gonna pay some sponsors.
We're going to pay some sponsors, and we're going to come back and talk with John.
And we're going to get right on with John.
The Real Estate Radio Guys with John Rainville and Kingsley Harmer. We'll be right back. Buying a home? Your good credit could equal 0 down. Schedule for a free consultation today at kingsley.today and get started on the path to home ownership. NMLS number 1018. Good credit should equal better mortgage rates. Schedule for a free rate quote at kingsley.today and get your lower rate. NMLS number 1810.
Listen for the Real Estate Radio Guys with everything you need to know about buying and selling real estate. Saturday mornings from 8 till 9 on Oldies 102.9 WHYL.
Are you working with a mortgage company that offers pre-approvals or just pre-qualifications? Does your mortgage company reward police, firefighters, military, teachers, and nurses with better rates and fees? How would you like to apply and be updated on the status of your loan right from your phone? Introducing GSF Mortgage Corporation, where technology and relationships make the difference. Visit pagoloan.com to apply or call 717-200-4800 for more information. NMLS number 1018.
Buying or selling a home? For professional home inspection, call EnviroQuest of Harrisburg. Their certified home inspectors will conduct a thorough inspection and provide a detailed report with many pictures. They'll explain the findings. Do you have elevated radon levels in your house? Call EnviroQuest. They have fixed over 10,000 homes over the last 25 years. For a professional home inspection or radon mitigation, call EnviroQuest at 233-6144, 233-6144, or visit EnviroQuest online at evqharrisburg.com. That's evqharrisburg.com.
Back to the show, the Real Estate Radio Guys with John Rainville and Kingsley Harmer.
So we're back, and good morning, John. How are you doing this morning? Hey, John, how are you doing there, guy, this morning?
Oh, doing great. How are you guys doing?
Good, John. Hey, John, riddle me this, buddy. So I've been in your house when you're not home. Who am I?
Alexa?
Good answer.
Good answer, but no, not a burglar, but a realtor.
Okay, cool.
Creepy.
How did you get in?
Dude, come on. A realtor with a credit card can get in anything.
Do you even need a credit card?
Well, piece of vinyl flooring works too.
All you need is a lockbox code, right?
Well, we'll show you some things that we were taught, John. We can't discuss those on the air.
I got that toolkit at the 99-cent store, just saying.
So, buddy, this morning you're going to talk to our listeners about mold, right?
Yeah, this time of year we get a lot of calls for mold testing. You have the snow melt, you have the spring rain, the ground's pretty saturated. And, yeah, we do get a lot of calls around this time of year. And so with my training with my home inspectors, an interesting thing that I train people with is a lot of times with mold it can be kind of subtle, but I train my inspectors when you first get to the house, you open the front door, you walk in, to observe. With home inspectors, we use a lot of our senses. So I have them just take a whiff of the air when you first walk in, because after you've been there a while, you get used to it and you don't notice it. But
John, they're asking if you can speak up a little bit more.
Okay, sure.
There, that's good.
Okay, sure, yeah. So when we first walk into the house, we take a whiff of that air and, we look for a mildew smell, look for a moldy smell, look for like a creosote smell, which could indicate, the air is going the wrong direction down the chimney. So after you've been there 5 or 10 minutes, it's hard to notice it. You get accustomed, just like people that have dogs. If somebody else walks into your house, they're like, man, I smell these dogs, but you don't notice it because your nose gets accustomed to it and sort of blocks it out.
Or the cat litter box.
Yeah, or cat litter box. So that's an interesting thing. It proves accurate. The coming back around, your nose is one of the best mold testing instruments you have. Your nose is pretty sensitive, actually. So, we're doing a home inspection. We do that initial assessment when we walk in. Some other things we look for would be, signs of moisture coming through into the basement. A lot of times there'll be indicators in the basement because it's in contact with the ground or below grade.
So if I walk into the house and I have that, that spidey sense go off that says, something doesn't smell right.
Wait a minute. Whose house are we talking about now?
So how
are we talking about? Pet odor? What are you talking about?
I'm just
Willis, what are you talking
just
about?
In general. I mean, so at what point, how do we put on our little inspector hat and monocle? How do we find it? I mean, where do you start?
Well, I like to say, mold is always related to moisture. So it needs moisture and it needs food. So we look at how is the moisture getting into the house? Is it downspout and guttering systems? Is there a plumbing leak? And then what type of food? Where's it getting the food? Like cellulose, a lot of building products, OSB, drywall, building products that have more cellulose are more prone to mold growth. So we make an assessment that way. During a home inspection, we're using our nose, we're using our other senses. We look visually, for any signs of water leakage that may be causing the mold, and then after our assessment, we can recommend air testing to, during a home inspection, when we actually see mold, when we find a moldy patch, that makes it pretty easy. It's like, okay, you have mold, get it cleaned up.
So, John, does that look like mold on bread or mold like you get on food, or does it look different?
All different. Different types of mold have different colors. They're divided into molds, funguses. Some people say mildew. So that's all part of our assessment. One of the basic differences, mold and mildew and fungus. So mold is usually on the surface of whatever substrate it's growing on, wood, drywall. The mold can usually be wiped off. The next level of decomposition will be a fungus, where it takes a higher moisture level, but it actually will grow into. You see a mushroom in the forest or have a tree. It actually destroys the food source. It grows into it.
So, John, is that something I can just get? Like that Mildex? What the heck? What is it? Moldex something? Or can I just get bleach and wipe it off?
Well, that's part of our assessment. We, for example, in the shower, almost everybody's shower's got a little bit of mold or mildew, and that's, random cleaning, ordinary cleaning, get some of that spray it, keep it clean, wipe it off.
And how long does it take for mildew to grow in a shower? Just out of curiosity, because at that point, you haven't cleaned your shower for how long?
Yeah, it can grow pretty quickly. That's one of the other aspects of mold mildew is that, depending on the conditions, the amount of moisture that are in the air, the water source, it can show up one day and then, let's say the weather dries out, and a couple days later it might not be so evident or it might not smell. So, it can change from day to day, weather conditions, moisture conditions. It can go dormant, and then when that moisture level comes back up.
What about that stuff on the side of houses you see? It kind of grows up like the side of buildings. Is that mold? Is that mildew? What is that?
Yeah, the green algae, we usually find that, for example, we call it the dark side, the north side that faces north. It doesn't get quite as much sunlight. It can get some algae growth.
And is algae dangerous, or is that just something you should wipe down or spray off?
Well, the algae on the outside of your home, it's not confined to the inside, so it's not going to be a breathing hazard. It's more of a cosmetic issue. If you get moss, lichens, things like that, it can actually start to cause damage to your roofing or your siding. But just when it's in the algae state, when it's just starting, it can just be wiped off.
Okay.
Maybe trim some tree branches to get more sunlight onto that area of the home.
And mold in general, I mean, why, if I walk in and I have this smell, at what point, is this a danger issue? I mean, at what point should I be worrying about taking care of this mold or this smell that I find when I walk into the house?
Sure. Yeah, so just this week I had one. I walked in the front door and I could smell a little bit of a mildew smell. I did my inspection. The buyer wanted a mold test. We did a mold test. The company we use, our lab, we send the samples to the lab, and they analyze it under a microscope, and the report comes back, and it has a list of all the different mold types and what was found there. Then there's parameters, or is this a dangerous condition, or does it need further action? So this one in particular, the total indoor spore concentration was 159, whereas there's a parameter if it's over 200 that it needs remediation, so it passed. So one of the nice things about our lab is they'll give us a printout that tells us the exact spore count, the types of mold, what the characteristics are, and then whether it...
And when you get to that 200 level, I guess, that you need remediation, I mean, what kind of health hazards are we talking? I mean, is this a breathing concern? Why should I care?
Yeah, sure. So everybody's got a different tolerance. Some people react badly to certain types of mold, and then other people can take even high levels and it doesn't really affect them. So it's an individual thing. What our lab determines the spore count, or our lab interprets the information, and it's just a general parameter. It doesn't mean that somebody who's hypersensitive to a certain mold type, it could be below that and they can still get a reaction, but it's just a general indoor air quality rule or parameter for a pass-fail, just to give it, some sort of measure to go by.
Okay. So if I walk into a house and I have this smell, I want to have it checked out. And obviously this is something that you do. What's the best number to call you on and say, hey, John, I'm a little concerned about my health. I've got this smell. I need you to find what's going on. What's the best number?
Sure. Best number is 717-233-6144.
And you can be found online at ebqharrisburg.com. And you're on Facebook as well, correct?
Yes.
Perfect. So, at this time of year, obviously, this is going to become probably a little bit more prevalent. Give John a call from EBQ Harrisburg, and take the time, get it checked out, keep your health. Keep your health. Thanks, John.
Have a great weekend,
thanks,
buddy.
guys.
Happy Easter. All right. So back on real estate. Career paths, I know we're getting tight on time, so I'm going to go over them pretty quickly. You can become a real estate agent, and then from there you can eventually become a broker. Takes a number of transactions, a few years in the business, some more education, a lot more education. You can go into commercial sales. You become a real estate investor. You can go into appraisals. You can go into commercial real estate appraising too. You could do property management. You could be a leasing consultant. You could be a foreclosure specialist.
Timeshare sales.
Timeshares, yeah. You go into new construction or land sales or business sales or land development. So there's a lot of different niches or avenues there once you get in.
Developers.
Correct. Once you get into the business.
And with that, the ladder does go up too. Obviously we're all getting into this business for money. So as you go into other areas, you really can step up your income.
Oh, absolutely.
If this is definitely a passion that you have, don't think that $150,000 is your cap, because it certainly is not.
Well, I'll tell you what, so they have to take the state licensing course, pass the state exam, and launch, get their career going. I'm going to tell you what we're going to do is my company will offer 2 scholarships for the courses online from us to 2 people if they call us today You can either call Lois Graham at 717-503-8700 or call me, 717-554-7430.
2 scholarships.
2 scholarships. You know, I mean, hey, we're talking about people that want to get into business. Call me. We'll interview you if we think you're serious and a viable candidate. You know, we're going to pay for your classes and, you know, take off at least some of the financial amount to get into business.
That's a decent, yeah.
How's that for a hook for the day?
That's a hook for the day. I like it. So I guess right now is the question is are you ready for real estate? Is real estate for you?
Absolutely. You know, I mean, you have to decide whether or not you're willing to, you know, do what it takes to get educated, get through the basic classes, and then really hone your craft. I mean, there's a ton of business out there if you're willing to work it like a job.
And I got to tell you, right now, as far as the market's concerned,
it's crazy.
If you're going to get into the real estate industry, if you were thinking about it,
now's the time.
Now's the time because there's so much business. You can kind of flip and falter and stumble and still be okay as long as you're putting your time into working.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can accidentally make money this year.
Yeah, I think so. I think for the next 3 to 5.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be in for a
and
good
as
run.
you hone your skill, you're just got. I mean, the idea is to become, you know, longevity, to just get better and better every year. That's where your income will skyrocket.
So, if anyone's looking to get pre-approved this weekend, where should they reach you at?
They can reach me at 717-200-4800, or they can actually go online at pagoloan.com.
So let's talk a little bit here. I know we got a couple minutes before they're going to kick us off the air here, but what's going on with rates and that?
Ugh.
Yeah, what's that mean? They're below 5, right? They're still below 5.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
Well, that's free money.
Historically, our rates are so low. I was just talking to a previous client the other day, and just made me realize, you know, even back in the quote-unquote great days where 5.5%, 6% was a good rate. You know, and we've just had it so beyond lucky to have the rates that we've had over the last few years, and we're still lucky we're still under 5%. You know, so right now it's floating between 4.5% and 5%, depending on a lot of characteristics, the loans that you're getting. It's still cheap money.
Oh, yeah, better than renting.
So, you know, for right now, yes, it's on the rise. It's slowly increasing. And when I say slowly increasing, it's maybe raised, up 0.5% over the last few months.
That's slow.
So, you know, it's slowly on the rise, but it's really affecting your payment by a few bucks one way or the other as the interest rate ticks up. Don't pay attention to the markets and the news too much. You know, they want you to think that the ceiling's dropping as far as rates going up. They've gone up a tad, they've come down a tad. They've gone up a tad, they've come down a tad. At the end of the day, this is a great time to buy. It's the spring market. Get out, get pre-qualified, talk to an established realtor, call John, get out, start looking at homes. It's just a great overall time. I mean, you know, the industry is booming. The economy is skyrocketing. It's phenomenal. You know, the confidence rate is beyond great. The unemployment rates are down. Take advantage of this time and get out there and buy a home. By the way, it's a whole lot less money to own a home than it is to rent these days.
You're crazy. Yeah, it's way less.
Because, you know, I'll tell you just from personal experience, a house that I'm renting is renting for about $11.50 a month. Right?
Okay.
It's a townhouse.
You're renting a house? Oh, you mean a house that you own, an investment property. I thought you owned your home.
A house is being rented for $11.50. You can buy that same house in today's market for about $900, $950 a month. Same thing.
Positive cash?
Yeah, which is you're just saving that much money. Plus, keep this in mind, every month you pay, you're just putting money into a fixed savings account for yourself, which is really what it is.
Right.
Real estate is, you know, the number one way to become millionaires, number one way to wealth in the United States. And that's, you don't have to be an investor. That's just through, you know, investing in your own self and your own personal home.
So one last plug, if you'd like to be apply for the 2 scholarships for the 2 courses online, to get in line to get your real estate license. Reach out to Lois Graham today. She's not online right now, so call her, 717-503-8700. Wake her up. Tell her the Real Estate Radio guys told you to call because you've got 2 free scholarships.
Or if you're quick, you can send a message through the Real Estate Radio guys on Facebook.
Yeah, that's true. They could.
Yep. If you're listening, follow us on Facebook weekly.
Correct.
We do our shows live, and all of our shows are uploaded to Spreaker and